Imagine waking up on a shore with no memory of how'd you got there. The sand is unnaturally white. The jungle behind you is a wall of alien green, and the ocean stretches out, endless and eerily calm. This isn't a tropical paradise, it's a prison. This is the story of the island that steals memories. Our story begins with the survivors. A handful of people, strangers to each other, washed ashore from a shipwreck none of them can quite recall. There's a grizzled old sailor who calls himself Jonas, a sharp-witted woman named Clara, a quiet young man, and our protagonist, a girl they call Lyra. Her arms are a tapestry of ink, not of elaborate designs, but of words, names, and dates, a personal history etched into her skin. In the first few days, a strange fog rolls in from the jungle every evening. It's thick, smelling of damp earth and something sweet, like forgotten flowers. When it recedes with the morning sun, something is always missing. Not objects, but something far more precious. It starts small. Jonas forgets the name of his ship. Clara can't remember her hometown. The details of their lives begin to fray at the edges, like an old photograph left in the sun. They realize with dawning horror that the island isn't just isolating them, it's erasing them. Lyra, terrified of this mental decay, becomes the group's archivist. Her inked arms are her shield against the encroaching emptiness. Every day, she gathers the others. She makes them repeat their names, their stories, anything they can still cling to. I am Clara. I was an architect from a city with tall glass buildings. I am Jonas. I sailed the 7 seas for 40 years. As they speak, Lyra writes. She uses a sharpened piece of charcoal to add their fragments of identity to her own skin. Her arms become a crowded ledger of their collective past, a desperate attempt to keep the fog at bay. The island, however, is relentless. The fog seems to grow thicker, its sweet scent more cloying. The memories it steals become larger. One morning, Jonas looks at his hands, callous and worn, and has no idea how they got that way. He can no longer remember the feel of a rope or the taste of salt spray. He just sits by the fire, a hollow shell, his eyes vacant. Clara, once so vibrant, falls silent. Her stories of glass buildings now just meaningless words she can no longer connect to any feeling or image. Lyra fights back with frantic determination. She spends hours tracing the words on her arms, reading them aloud to the others, trying to reignite the spark in their eyes. But it's like trying to fill a leaking bucket. For every memory she reinforces, 2 more slip away. The names on her skin start to feel foreign even to her. Who was Marcus? Was he the quiet boy who now just stares at the waves? What did Father's lullaby sound like? The ink is there, but the emotional connection, the very soul of the memory, is gone. The weight of this responsibility becomes crushing. Lyra is not just trying to remember for herself, she's trying to remember for everyone. She feels the ghosts of their past lives swirling around her, a chorus of forgotten joys and sorrows. She carries the burden of 100 heartbreaks, 1,000 celebrations, all of which are fading into nothing. The strain is immense. She rarely sleeps, fearing the fog, and her waking hours are a constant, exhausting battle against oblivion. The others look at her with a strange mix of hope and pity. She is their anchor, but she is also drowning. One evening, a particularly dense fog rolls in. Lyra huddles by the fire, frantically trying to recall her own mother's face. She can see the ink on her arm that says Mama's smile, but the image in her mind is blurry, indistinct. Panic seizes her. She grabs the charcoal and starts writing furiously, anything to fill the void. But the words feel empty. It's in this moment of absolute despair that a new thought, a terrifying and yet liberating one, enters her mind. What if she stopped fighting? She looks at the others. Jonas is humming a tuneless song, a faint smile on his face. Clara is tracing patterns in the sand, completely at peace. They are no longer tormented by the ghost of who they were. They are simply here, now, existing in the present moment. Their pain, their grief from the shipwreck, their past regrets, all of it has been washed away by the islands. Strange mercy. They are not empty shells, they are clean slates. A profound realization dawns on Lyra. She has been trying to preserve their past, but their pasts were filled with as much pain as joy. The shipwreck was a trauma. The lives they left behind held their own heartaches and burdens. She believed memory was identity, that without it, they were nothing. But looking at her peaceful companions, she sees that perhaps identity isn't about what you were, but what you are. And right now, they are calm. They are free. The island wasn't a prison. It was a sanctuary. The fog wasn't a thief. It was a healer. It was offering them a release from the suffering that comes with memory, a chance to start again, unburdened. Her desperate struggle to hold onto the past was the real source of her torment. She was chaining herself and everyone else to a sinking ship of yesterday. As the sun begins to rise, casting a golden glow over the white sand, Lyra makes a choice. She stands up and walks to the water's edge. The cool, clear ocean laps at her feet. She looks down at her arms, at the frantic black scribbles that represent a world of pain, struggle, and loss. They are a monument to a battle she was never meant to win. With a deep breath, she wades into the water. Slowly, deliberately, she begins to scrub her skin. The charcoal smudges, turning the water around her gray, and then washes away. Jonas, the sailor. Clara, the architect. My father's lullaby. My mother's smile. Each name, each phrase, dissolves into the sea. It's not an act of surrender, but an act of acceptance. An act of letting go. A tear rolls down her cheek, but it's not a tear of sorrow. It's a tear of relief. She feels a lightness she hasn't felt since arriving on the island. The weight of a dozen lifetimes lifts from her shoulders. She watches the last of the ink disappear, leaving her skin clean. She looks back at the shore, at the handful of people sitting by the dying embers of the fire. They are no longer defined by their past. They are simply people on an island at the beginning of a new day. She doesn't know their names. She doesn't even know her own. And for the first time, that feels okay. It feels like peace. As she walks out of the water and back toward the others, a new, gentle smile touches her lips. The sun is warm on her face. The jungle is a vibrant, living green. The world is no longer a place of loss, but a place of quiet, simple existence. They may have lost their memories, but in doing so, they found a different kind of salvation. This story makes you wonder, doesn't it? How much of our identity is tied to our past, and how much of that past is a burden we carry? Sometimes, the greatest act of courage isn't holding on, but letting go. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more tales that explore the depths of the human experience.